Hi everyone, Andy Hayes here, founder and creator of Plum Deluxe. I am hosting the live Q&A today at the International Virtual Tea Festival. I have some frequently asked questions that I have in the hopper, but I do see we have at least a couple of guests, one familiar face to me and one new. So Jerry, hi, we were just talking before we hit record. Um, do you have any questions for us or just want to say hi?
Yeah, I actually did just have a discussion with Jenna. I don't know how I found your tea. I live in Florida, but I found it like 6 months ago and I've started buying your tea and I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate
And,
that.
and I am a big fan on your Facebook site. I love the community.
Thank you.
And I was just saying, I was explaining to Jenna, I've never done tea memberships. But I've considered yours because I just love the camaraderie and I like getting 1 ounce of tea because I like to try so many teas that I don't like to buy like a pound or, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
really like to have variety. So I had asked a lot of questions about the team membership. Um, but I guess overall, I was just checking in to see what's going on.
Well, awesome. We're glad to have you. I have a question for you. Since you're in Florida, do you drink iced tea all the time or hot tea all the time? Or
I I really like hot tea. I grew up in the Midwest, so I was in like cold weather. Um, I really prefer hot tea. Even when I'm on the beach and it's 90 degrees, I still like hot tea.
yeah,
But I'll do both. Like right now I'm having kind of warm matcha.
yeah, cool. I was curious. When you get to the South, it's always kind of a very divide if someone is an iced tea drinker or a hot tea drinker all the time. So I was just
Yeah.
curious.
I'm not a sweet tea drinker. It's okay. I mean, if anyone is, that's great. But I am not like a sweet tea drinker.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I will talk for a second. You were asking about the Tea Club. I will give you my comments too. I don't know what Jenna said, but I people ask me about it a lot too. And what I always like to say is, if you like getting surprises, like the things that you have to ingest, and you don't have a lot of allergies or weird preferences, like you can't have nuts or you can't have apples or something that's just in tea very often. If any of that is a thing, then a subscription is probably not a good idea. You're just going to continually get things that you're just like not happy with. But if you like getting surprises and you like the idea of getting something that you didn't know you were going to get, and it might be right outside your comfort zone and you want to try it, then it is a cool thing to try. The big thing about it, especially these days, because shipping prices keep going up, is that club members and our subscription get free shipping. So even if you're just ordering, your usual 2 or 3 tea stock up for the month, you don't have to pay the shipping. So that's my comments on the tea club. But your question was technically what's going on. Well, we just moved into a new office, which we're really excited about. It's much bigger, which is very important in this time because people need to be spread out to be safe. So we're really happy about that. People are probably 15 feet apart instead of 6. So I'm pretty happy about that. And also gives us a lot of options for new products. And speaking of new products, we have a ton of holiday stuff out. I don't know if you saw that. I did a video with a little holiday tour. I was really proud of Kieran, who designed our tea wall calendar. It's so pretty. I should have. I'm at home today. I should have brought one with me to show off. But it's really nice. Maybe I'll have Kieran show some of them because Kieran is next to them in the office. But they did a great job with that. We've also got like a tea Christmas ornament, like tree ornament, and then just so many cute mugs and things in addition to the holiday teas that we normally have. and we're kind of really happy about that. I mean, it's for most people, it's been quite a year to be nice about it, and so it's nice to have some cute, happy things to kind of end 2020 with some twinkle lights and a cute mug and something tasty in it.
I loved it. So I watch all your videos and
Thank
I
you.
love the holidays. The calendar, Kieran, is, if I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yep, Kieran.
It is so nice. And you put in there something about like special holidays, like there's something out there that might be special for people that have that. I like it. It looks fun.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been wanting to do that, and just you have to do it in advance. It takes some time, so I'm glad we finally got it done. See if I can figure out the chat here. Hello, peoples. Hello. So I'm doing a live Q&A today, so if anyone has questions, feel free to unmute yourself and say hello. Or you can ask your question in the chat. So if you're in the Zoom, there's 3 dots at the bottom that say more, and you can click on that, and there's a button for chat. Sarah, I find your crocheting in the background very soothing. So yeah, if you're shy, Kieran has just mentioned, we are recording this session, but it's just me. So your face is not on the camera, so if you're not feeling ready to face the internet, it's totally okay. You don't have to worry about your face popping up. It's just me, the one with the logo shirt on, so don't have to worry about that. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Katura? Yeah?
Yep, it's Katura, like you're taking a tour. Yeah.
Katura, and who's the small face next to you?
This one's Aviana.
Aviana, hello.
We have children who are a little punchy here, but okay. They like tea too, so she wanted to.
Okay, so is this your question or hers?
This is my question.
Okay, well you have to ask her. I'll answer yours, and then I would love to hear her question.
All right.
So favorite flavor combinations, especially if they're unusual ones you hadn't expected. Well, the first one that comes to mind, favorite flavors, is I love the nutty teas. I'm having the toasted nut brulee oolong this morning with toasted marshmallow nut pods creamer. So it's like basically marshmallow and nuts. I mean, that sounds kind of weird when you say it that way, but it reminds me, I feel like this toasted marshmallow stuff reminds me of like the creme brulee taste. So it's kind of making the toasted nut brulee more brulee. So, but I like the nut teas a ton. So like there's the hazelnut and orange. There's the toasted nut, which has like just a ton of nuts in it. Those are the two that kind of jump out to me as some favorites. It's one of our older teas, one of the first ones we had with the Gratitude blend, which is that strawberry and the Earl Grey bergamot.
That's one of my faves.
Yeah, and what I really like about it is, I grew up with kind of supermarket Earl Grey, which can be kind of really astringent, and you feel like your mouth needs a brushing afterwards. And then sometimes the fruit teas can be really sweet, and you don't want it too sweet. And so I really like finding 2 ingredients that kind of cancel each other's negatives out. So that's what I like about that tea, is that's, the strawberries keep the bergamot in check, and the bergamot keeps the strawberries in check. And then something that caught my eye in your question, which was the unusual ones. We have tea called Meadow Walk. I don't know if you've tried that one. It's rosemary, lavender, and blueberry, and it's a herbal tea. Kids really like it for some reason. I've noticed that. But what's interesting about it is I had a dream about drinking a tea, and it was rosemary, lavender, blueberry, and I woke up and I was like, God, that's so strange. Like, I swear I was drinking a tea that was like this, and it just kept bugging me. Like, did I? You ever have a dream where you're like, I'm sure I'm remembering it right, but it just doesn't seem right. Yeah, it seems weird to me. So I eventually decided I would just try it and see what it tasted like, right? Because I mean, if it's gross, nobody needs to know. And so I tried it, and I really liked it, and I still didn't believe. Had a bunch of other people try it because I was like, this is the strangest thing. But you gotta taste it. It's like rosemary and lavender. It just seems like oil and vinegar, right? But it's really good.
What's the
So,
name of that one?
Meadow Walk.
Meadow Walk? I
Yeah,
haven't tried that one, but
it
I've
kind of
got two
reminds you of
kids.
floral and porous. Yeah.
Yeah. Mirabelle is my older daughter. She had a question too, she said.
Oh yeah, I think that you guys should make like candy ones or treat ones, like a cupcake kind.
Okay. What do you want on your cupcake? Cream cheese frosting?
Everything that has sugar in it.
Okay.
We've tried some of the dessert teas. You like those. We've tried some of the dessert herbals.
Or brownie flavor one.
Oh,
Ooh, that sounds good. Like real
She
chocolatey.
likes the chocolate. She likes the chocolate mint one. Avi, did you have a real question? Oh, no, just a recommendation.
Just to vote for the chocolate, more chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, they like the magic tea flower though. We had a tea party this summer with the magic butterfly tea, and that was a fun thing to have.
Nice. Did you do the lemonade and
Mm-hmm.
the color change? That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, so that was really fun.
Nice. Nice.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Because I am a member of the tea club, I know that your tea club teas are exclusive and aren't available on the website, which makes being a member ultimately awesome. And I just want to know, you already have so many different blends in your regular shop. How do you, find the inspiration for all the tea club blends on top of that?
That was a big worry I had, like maybe a year into it, that I thought, oh no, I created this program where every month it has to be something different. So I thought I would run out of ideas, and I just haven't. I guess the thing that's important for me is I have a good structure where if I have ideas, or I'm really inspired by food and international places, places where tea grows, food there. So when I kind of get a hint of something, I have a place to put it, so I don't lose that thread, and then I can come back to it. So I haven't had that. I also make sure I have plenty of runway. So the tea club blends are always decided pretty much a year out. Sometimes, especially in 2020, things happen that you didn't anticipate, and so sometimes you got to hang a left when you thought we were heading right. But for the most part, because I try to also not have the same kind of tea, two green teas in a row, and then not have any for 6 months, or a sweeter tea over and over again. We try to balance it out. So you have to kind of do a few in a row to rearrange things if needed. So then that also gives time, so I don't feel rushed. But I don't know, Sarah, there are just so many ingredients. Every year I'm always finding out things that I've never heard of, that I'm like, what is that? The tea festival last year, because we didn't have one this year, so the one last year, there were a lot of like American growers that were growing things like avocado leaf tea, and I was like, what is that? I've never even heard of it. And it was really good, and it tasted just like white tea, and I thought, this is amazing. And it's like waste product, like the avocado leaves, they throw them away. So I was like, that's amazing. So I just feel like there's just no end to it. When we find the end, if I find the end, we'll all be in trouble. But I haven't found it yet. So, and I also, at this point, I'm not too worried about if there was a tea in 2012 that is a little similar to this one, but not quite. I mean, I'm not that worried about it. For example, every year we try to do a peach tea because I don't know why people just love our peach teas. People want a peach tea, especially in the summertime. People want peach. So there's usually a peach every year, and then Earl Grey month. We try to always do an Earl Grey in June, just the kind of big promotion we do for Earl Grey. So we try to do a Earl Grey tea in the club for June. And then, yeah, but I just haven't ran out. So let's see. There was a question in the chat here from Peter. Hi, Peter. I love your blends and wonder how you come up with such creative ones. Well, I appreciate the compliment. So for me, it's just really having a good structure. So I have very good notes. I have, I don't know if I can, I don't think I can reach them, but here in my office, I don't think they're within reach. I mean, I have notebooks for years. I have my notebooks by year. And then if you are in my office, in our warehouse, I have huge tubs that have sample teas from different places in them. So I have a really good structure to pull from. I think when it comes to the creative aspect, you're really looking for threads that you might not, someone else might not notice. So if I have all of my notes, you know, I can kind of see if I see something or hear about something or something comes to mind. I have a place to park it for one, because I can't remember things. I have terrible memory. And then I can think about what could go with this, or what, you know, this needs a little something. And I have all of my notes, so I can go. People who work with me know I'm always like rifling through my notebooks like a crazy person. So I have a way to organize all my information, so it's easy for me to kind of figure out like two things that are very disconnected and bring them together. Jerry was asking about how we source all of the Besties. So we really strive to be 1 or 2 steps from the producer, the farmer, the manufacturer. So we're not quite big enough to bring ingredients over on a container whole. We do actually do that now for a couple of things. But for the most part, we are doing like a group. If you think about a group buy, have you ever been in like a local farmer is selling like a wheel of cheese, and everybody chips in and says, I want 2 pieces and I'll have 2, and these people will have 1 each, and so then you can all get this huge thing, but not have to commit to the whole. Like you can't eat the whole thing before it goes bad, sort of thing. Same exact thing with us. Like these chests or containers of tea are just like, we just moved into a new building and we wouldn't even have anywhere to put it. So we go in with other people to bring things in and say, okay, well, we're going to commit to this part, and then you'll commit to this part, and then we've got it covered so we can get things in. But for me, it's really important to know not only who we're buying with, but especially if we're not the one in control of shipping it, but then who is the farmer. So we know all about all of our growers. It's very easy because a lot of the herbs and spices are from the Northwest. So we're in Oregon. For those of you who are here on the call and didn't know, we're based in Oregon. And so much agriculture, especially the things that go in tea, are from Washington and Oregon. Spearmint and fruit and apples and flowers, lots of it in this area. And then California, of course, huge agricultural center. So a lot of that's pretty easy. It's really the tea. Tea does grow in the United States, but not very much, really, not a lot. And the largest grower is controlled by a single tea company, which is not ours. And I'm not really interested in buying that enterprise at this moment in time. So for tea, you know, we're definitely getting that from China, you know, Sri Lanka, India, etc. And so we're having to have that come over on a boat. And so we're just jumping in with somebody else and pairing up. And that's pretty common. You know, a lot of companies just buy wholesale teas from a catalog from somewhere else, and that's not really kind of our bag. We're bringing all the individual ingredients in and then creating our recipes from that. So that's probably more than you wanted to know, Jerry, but hopefully that's helpful to give you an idea of what it's like. It's kind of a,
Yeah.
it's a logistical, it's a supply chain. It really is the right word for it, the chain, the different pieces. And we want to be as close to the beginning as possible so that it's fresh and we know what's happening and all that.
And then you blend everything in your facility.
Yeah,
correct?
here in Oregon, yeah.
Okay. No, that's really helpful. I mean, everybody does things differently. I'd love to learn more about that whole process. But yeah, that was helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I simplified it a little bit, but some of it's not that interesting. Tariffs and shipping lanes, which has been an interesting conversation this year, and border control, customs. You deal with a lot of that with tea because it's an agricultural import. So you don't think about that. Sometimes you hear about it in the news with like wheat or corn or something, but these same strange things that are going on in other agricultural products are the same for tea. So Peter's asking a great question. Do teas of the month in the club ever become available later to buy? So it's a great question, Peter. So we do almost always, I can't think of a recent time where we didn't have extra tea at the end, which club members can purchase. So it's right after we finish. So like right now, it's the 7th of the month, and we're still sending out teas for like a week for the subscription, because a lot of people pay like on the 6th. So there's still people paying for their tea for this month, even though we've already sent out most of the teas for people who've already paid, but people renewing, and we're still shipping. So once we're done with that, which will end up right around the 15th of the month, members can purchase more of the one that they just got. And then you have that available to you for 2 months. And then that comes off, so we're rotating those out. And then every year in August, we do Customer Appreciation Month, and that's an opportunity for people to vote, very relevant to the times, on what teas they really liked, they think should come back. And we actually give Tea Club members 2 votes, so it's sort of a weighted rank system, because Tea Club members can vote on former club teas as well. So if a lot of people want a tea to come back, every year we give them an opportunity to try and do that. So for example, this year, I think, well, I'm trying to think which ones were club teas. So this year we had a couple of winners by a landslide. There was Sweet Georgia Peach came back, and that was a Tea Club blend from 2019 at some point. And then Picard Earl Grey came back, and that was I think we just did that for a TV show, and everyone loved it. So we do sometimes do some fandom type things. But I think there are several teas in our shop that were Tea Club blends that got promoted, so to speak. Like the Oregon Breakfast, I think was the second Tea Club blend, just the hazelnut orange, and it got promoted to a Tea Club blend in the first Customer Appreciation Month. So I thought that was pretty funny. So to summarize the answer to your question, Peter, yes, they do. Always to club members, and then sometimes to everybody else. We also, if we have extras that don't get purchased by club members, we tend to put them in the tea trio bags. So if you're ever like just buying teas from our shop and you really hoping to try a club tea, you don't want to commit, a great kind of faux experience, kind of a little light version of it is to grab a tea trio bag on your way out the door. And so right on the cart before you check out, it will ask you if you'd like a trio bag, and those are like surprise bags with 3 teas. And you can pick like the theme, so black, green, spicy. So there's several different themes, so you kind of know if it's kind of in your genre or not, if you're gonna buy one of those. So that's one thing you can also try, because there tend to be club teas in those sometimes. Let's see. We have another question. How fast do you go through a base tea order? Or to put it another way, how many times a year are you ordering? And there are there lots of different base teas? So we have stuff coming in just all the time. The thing is, you have different growing seasons for different things. Things are further away than other things. Different places have, like, when you say you want something, it takes a while for the process to start actually going. So we kind of have things coming in all the time. What's nice, in our last building, it was so small, we didn't have a large quantity of some things on hand, and that was always kind of a challenge. So now we're trying to have more of all of our individual pieces in-house to smooth that out a little more. But yeah, we have things coming in all the time. I mean, definitely certain times of year you're having waves of one kind of product than another. You know, like in the like a good example in the summer in Africa, where rooibos and honeybush grow. It's the only place that they grow. They've been having really terrible weather. They're just really struggling with all of their agricultural products, but specifically honeybush and rooibos as well. And we always know that, you know, you're going to really dry up on supplies, and so you got to get what you need, and hope that you don't run out. So there's a lot of that happening too, especially now that the weather is just weird everywhere, not just here in the States. It's kind of weird everywhere. So you are having some waves as well of things coming in, probably more than you need, because we always tend to run out of this in the fall because it's not coming. So, and then yeah, you've got, for the types of bases, you've got rooibos, green rooibos, which is really rooibos, but I guess just less processed. And then you have tea Camellia sinensis, which is, all the different varieties of that, which is the black, green, white, and the oolong, pu'ers. Like Kieran is like wrote all of our tea education, so they're probably going to tell me I'm missing some. But those are the main ones. Yeah, so we try to cover all that, and then honey. I missed honeybush. So those are kind of the bases. But then also don't forget, everyone loves our herbal teas, and a lot of those don't have a base. When it's just fruit pieces or flowers or things like that. So right here. So Jerry's asking a great question. Do tea club members receive an additional discount on all orders so they get free shipping? And those guys do tend to get our best offers throughout the year. There's not any specific, we don't commit to anything specific for them, but they do get more goodies than anybody else. I'll just put it that way. So there's some surprises for sure. But the thing to figure out if it's right for you, cost-wise, is the shipping. I mean, if you're ordering more than once a month, it does basically cover for itself. But if you're ordering several times a month, or you order lots of stuff, like several different items, then it does pretty much pay for itself. Cool. Let's see. I totally forgot. There's also the chat room in the main page. It doesn't look like we have any chats down there. So I did bring with me some really common questions that I get. So people always ask, and there was a variation on this earlier, my favorite teas for the season. So this is kind of a weird one right now because we're in the autumn, but the holiday stuff is out. So I don't want to push anybody too hard to to jump into the holidays if you're not ready. So I guess I'll say for both, I do really like the spicy caramel apple, which is not very spicy, but it's a really nice herbal tea. That's definitely one of our more popular this time of year, and great alternative if you're kind of over the pumpkin spice latte thing. I really like that one. And then as far as the holiday teas, I actually was just trying this morning again because I hadn't had it in a while. The maple pecan, which is something we have new this year for the holidays. That was a tea that was featured in our advent calendar last year, and it was really popular. So we put it into the store this year. So I'm really digging that one. That's a black tea, but excuse me, we have two different herbal teas for the holidays: the spiced cranberry and the candy cane. Candy cane is really nice too, for a kind of evening relaxer during the holidays. So that's a really good one. So those are some of my favorites. Overall, year-round faves, definitely toasted nut brulee. I'm always on the toasted nut parade. And I like the Reading Nook blend. That was our first tea. And it's just a really interesting, it's a black tea, but it has a bunch of herbal, relaxing flowers in it, rose, lavender, and chamomile. So it's just something really interesting about that blend. It's really not what you expect when you hear the ingredient list, but then when you smell it and taste it, you're like, there's something interesting going on here. So those are some of my faves.
I was so impressed with your Reading Nook. It was like soft and it was like lovely. I really liked that a lot.
Thanks. You know what's so fascinating about that is when you make it, so you have black tea and rose, lavender, chamomile, and you can smell these different pieces. The astringency of the black tea, the rose is very perfumey, the lavender soft, the chamomile kind of has that edge to it. And you mix it all up, and then you put it in the bag, and then when you open it back up, it smells different. Like they combine and do something different. It's really, I just find that fascinating. There's a lot of teas that do that, but that one is very distinct. If you smelled it right when it got made, like right when it was still in the bowl, and then after it's been in a bag or even just in a container of any kind, they combine and do something different. It's really fascinating. I'm glad you like that one. And it's now available in decaf as well. So happy about that. So we had a question about the Advent calendar, so I'm happy to talk about that. So every year we do a tea Advent calendar. And this year, certain our fabric calendars have already sold out, but we do have some left of the tea-only kits. And so it's little sample sachets, which have like 3 or 4 cups of tea in them, and they're in a little privacy sleeve, so you can hang them or put them in a basket however you like, and you're not going to get spoilers. But there are 24 teas that you can open up each day for the holidays. It's definitely one of our most popular holiday features. I mean, it's only been on sale for 2 or 3 weeks, and they're almost all gone. And we do, like well over 1,000 of them, so it's pretty crazy. The Couture has some great questions about it, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. So the Advent calendar teas, are they all different? So they're 24 days, different teas. And if you have the calendar from last year, it's a different program. It's a different program every year. It features teas specific to the calendar, and then some from the shop. We want to make sure that a lot of people get them as gifts, so we want them to be able to, try some of the things that everybody enjoys from the main shop. But then this year we have some teas that nobody's ever seen before, so they're new to the calendar. I don't think, I have to think about it, I think there might be like one repeat from last year, like special teas. I think that's it. I don't think they're mostly new and then shop. So, but you know, there's some holiday shop teas that are just classic Advent type teas. So, you know, you'll see some of those again, but for the most part, they're new. This year, it has a lot of caffeine-free teas. We got a lot of feedback wanting it to be well balanced. So while there are some greens and chais and things, you know, there's also a lot of herbals too. Let's see, and then a really important question. So are they available for purchase if you love them, or sample special only? So what happens is, so when you get your little kit inside, it's got all those little envelopes with the teas, and then there's a card. And the card, you can write down your notes for all of the teas all the way through. So you can say if you liked it, didn't like it. And then at the end, the card also has a URL on it that nobody else has. But the URL won't work until the evening on the 24th. And so on that day, you can go to the URL and see all of those teas and get more of the ones that you liked. And we leave it up for a couple of weeks. It's, you know, no rush. I mean, people should be able to enjoy their Christmas day. So that's how it works. And what's also nice is a thank you, because it is a higher price item. So the card also features a discount. So if you wanted other things at the same time, you can get them. That's how that works. And you know, usually every year there's plenty of most of the teas that were featured. The special, I'm speaking specifically for the special ones that are only in there. And then also there's always good conversation after Christmas and when it's ended in our Facebook group, our community, which I know you guys have access to, which people can talk about the ones that they like the most, which ones they're going to vote for in August. This year I noticed for the for the Appreciation Month vote, quite a few teas were Advent calendar teas. Last year's definitely had some home runs as far as the Advent teas. So yeah, we're excited about this one. This one's a really good one, I think. It has some teas that are just really different than anything we've done before. So I'm really excited to see what people think. And it's also the most diverse, I think, in flavor profiles. So, but we'll see. Maybe people think differently. I don't know. I'm excited. And if you're wanting one and haven't got one, now's the time. I know the fabric ones that are sold out. I'm assuming the other kits aren't too far behind. They were dwindling fast last time I looked. So. Let's see. I have a question. How many club members are there? I think almost 5,000. Quite a few. Yeah, it does vary at different times of the year. So this time of the year, it's going up quite a lot. So. Let's see. One question I get a lot when I do Q&As is about cold brewing teas. And you can cold brew, you can have cold tea, iced tea any time of year. So you don't have to worry about being judged in this group. Whatever, however you like your tea, that's great. It doesn't matter to us. But I get asked a lot about iced tea, especially this time of year, because you can't put the sun tea out, at least if you don't live in Florida like Jerry. And you're just going to cold brew. Cold brewing tea is really easy. And if you want to do iced white tea or iced green tea or iced herbal tea, in fact, it's like the best way to do it. But I think all of our staff prefers cold brew because it's easy. You get the best flavor. You know, and enough said. If it's easy and good flavor, why not do it? And so all you're doing is you're getting a mason jar or some other vessel. You're putting 1 to 2 teaspoons of tea per 8 ounces of cold water, not hot, cold. Cold water 1 to 2 teaspoons. I would say like a little more tea than you normally would use for hot. And then you put it in the fridge and leave it overnight. That's it. It really needs 8 hours. So I just say overnight so you don't get in a rush. Because the one thing about the cold brew method for iced tea is that if you rush it, it's no good. It's like weak colored water. It's no good. So leave it in the fridge overnight and then strain it. You don't need any fancy equipment really. I mean, I know there's all these fancy things out there, but you really don't need it. You could put the tea, if you don't like straining the jar, you can use a filter bag or you can put it in a large infuser. You want to make sure it has tons of room because that tea is going to fill with that cold water and expand a lot. It's going to have a lot of room. You just strain it off into a different vessel, and there you go. There's your iced tea. You can put it back in the fridge and drink it when you're ready. The extra tea left over, you can add a little more tea to it and do another steep. You can do another cold brew. Put it right back in and then wait 24 more hours, and it's good to go. So that's what you want to do in the winter if you don't have access to outside and you do want the iced tea. And, you know, I don't disagree. Having some nice iced tea during like holiday seasons can be really nice. Doing cold brew, like the spiced cranberry cold brew, it'd be really great for cocktails, or using it, you know, for different infusions is really nice. So I always get asked about the cold brew. There's a link in the chat as well, Kieran. Thank you for your help on that. So if you're looking for more cold brew tips, that's a great place. Also, the Advent calendar link, for those of you who are able to get to the chat, is in there. So that's cold brew. Let's see. Jerry's asking, when we have a handle on COVID, have you considered PD travel an option, like visiting tea estates or even get-togethers at tea festivals in the U.S.? Well, that's a great question. We actually moved into this new warehouse with the idea that we would have like a showroom, I guess. I don't know, that makes it sound like we're selling cars, but you know, like a place where you could at least do a pickup and like smell things or something like that. Of course, 2020, that just nowhere even remotely an option at the moment. So, but yeah, we really were excited about making sure that we were building our community. I mean, I think Plum Deluxe has one of the strongest and most thriving communities of tea companies, and that is because it's really important to us. And we want to do as much as we can to support that. And unfortunately, yeah, the in-person events just hasn't worked out so much. I agree. I think this would be fun. It depends on what people's appetite is, and to be honest, even if we get a handle on things, I think it's still going to be a while before these things really kick in. But that said, I do want to give a shout out to Jenna and Kieran, who have been the organizers of our virtual events program, and they have been killing it. They've been doing such a great job with book clubs and craft nights or craft parties. There's just a little bit of something for everyone, and they're just doing a really great job. So if you're just joining us and haven't been hanging out with us before on the internet, I would really encourage you to take a look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/Plum Deluxe, and just click on events, and you can see what things are coming up. There's just tons and tons of stuff. So there's a lot of options to try to feel connected, even if we're not physically connected right now. So hopefully that'll get us through, and then we can kind of see what things look like. I have a question about Magic Butterfly. I'm curious if this came from one of the little ones or not. So we love it here. It's so magical. Is there any other flower like that does the color change? I feel like there is, and I can't think of what it is. So the question is about our butterfly pea flower tea, which is a flower that grows in Thailand, and it creates a pH reaction with water. So if the water is low acid, so it's alkaline, which is water is generally alkaline, Then when you brew the tea, it's blue. And then the addition of acid, which would be lemon or lime, so like lemonade, and it turns purple. And so that's the pH is becoming acidic. So it's just a pH reaction. So if anybody's ever, remember, you have a pool, if you've ever been to the pool and you have those little sticks that they test the water with and it changes color, it's the exact same thing. So the butterfly pea is a really popular, kind of in vogue one right now. So we sell just the flowers, but then we have this magic butterfly blend that was in the question, and it has like a lot of fruit and things because the flowers by themselves aren't that delicious, so wouldn't really reach for the stars for that one. You can add the flowers to anything. You can add it to a black tea if you wanted to, even, or green tea, any tea that you want. But we have also the blend that has the flowers in it. Gosh, there is another flower that does a color change. I just can't think of it. But I do, one thing whenever I'm making tea recipes, one thing that a lot of people don't know, or maybe you've probably heard by now, I will only taste teas in clear or white containers, white vessels, because I want to see the color. So the color is important. So I think that especially if you have little ones and you're trying different teas, it is fun to talk about the color and what that impacts the taste, right? Because I think Heinz said a good ad campaign a while back, that a couple years ago, that was like ketchup wouldn't taste the same if it was blue. They had these like blue and yellow ketchup, and like when you looked at it, you thought it was mustard because it was yellow. It was really a funny thing. And a lot of people wanted them to make the blue ketchup. I don't know if they did or not, but like your brain tastes with your eyes, and so it would taste different. So I think that's really interesting. So some of the teas that I really do like the color for are the just rose hips. It just has the ruby golden color, so that's kind of a fun one. I like the Tender Loving Care TLC blend with the orange peel and the seed buckthorn berries, just because it has this like tangerine tinge. It's not orange specifically. It just has this certain color. I find that really interesting, and it's from those buckthorn berries because they're full of vitamin C. I don't know. Rose hips are too, so there must be something about the vitamin C ingredients that have an interesting color. And then Sarah just mentioned too, the red velvet has a really gorgeous cold brew, and it has a cool color as well. I just like the color of it too. So let's see, alkaline water, when that makes the color different than reverse osmosis. So yeah, so if you are using different kinds of water for the magic butterfly tea, you can get, you might just get purple tea and no blue, or it's not very purple. That's about it. You can't get it to do anything else, unfortunately. But I do get people that say like, oh, it doesn't work. It's only purple, and it's because just their water pH is too high already. So it's just the pH reaction is already happening. So let's see. Sarah is asking, will we have matcha again? I'm assuming this is the question. Matcha. I don't know. We did have flavored matcha for about a year. We were really happy about how we were sourcing that. It was directly from a farm in Taiwan, and it was really tasty. But it just doesn't sell for us. We just had a really hard time moving it. And the thing with matcha is it has a very short shelf life. So I don't know. Now that we have a bigger space, we have a lot of more opportunities. So it's something we might try, but no guarantees. Also, Sarah, I find it interesting cold brewing the red velvet tea. I don't know if I've tried that. Chocolate teas in general, I don't tend to cold brew, but I'm not against this idea.
Yeah, I'm always telling everyone on Facebook that they have to try it cold brewed because it's really good.
Do you do a lot more cold brew tea than hot, or no?
I like to have cold brew in the fridge because it's, just it's great to drink. But whenever I get like my tea of the month, right, I make one hot cup and one cold cup and see which I like better.
That makes sense. That makes
Or
sense.
like any tea, but I usually get the tea of the month. I've tried almost all of the regular teas.
Yeah, I believe it.
So
Yeah,
whenever
and
there's a new one, new to me, then I will. I'll make one cup, hot and one cup cold and just, experiment.
yeah, and it is interesting. The hot and cold teas sometimes are very different. And usually, especially for the tea of the month teas, I try to mention it on the little card that people get. Um, like try this with different steep times, or try this hot versus cold, or try this with something in it. So I try to remind people about those things because it sometimes really is different. Um, if you get a tea that you don't like, I do recommend trying different steep times for sure. But
Mhm.
also the hot versus cold can be very different. It's really interesting. You would think there's not that much of a difference, but um, one recent example I can think of that's a classic is in the summer we have a watermelon mint tea, and you get people that say it's well, first of all, a lot of people say it's amazing, and then you get people that say it's all watermelon, and then you get people that say it's all mint.
Almond. Yeah.
And if you ask them, or if you say, did you try it? How did you make it? And did you try it the other way around? Like hot, try it cold, cold, try it hot. And then they flip. It's so funny. Like they're like, oh, I didn't realize it's totally different. So if you ever have a tea and you really want to like it, like you like the smell of it or something, or it's just one of your classic go-to flavors, try changing it hot to cold, cold to hot, or changing the steep time, because you may just find the littlest thing will change it for you. So, um,
Yeah,
recommend
the
that.
watermelon mint I like. That's one of the ones that I actually like as brewed hot and then refrigerated after to cool it down.
And is that because it's more watermelony?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the mint. I like it cold. I like that mint. A little watermelon. Um, so we have another great question here, and I'm also just noting the time. So we have about 5 minutes left. So if people are hiding and have questions, be sure to get them into the chat. Almost out of time. So we have a question about, I like black tea, but I don't let the girls drink caffeinated tea. Probably a good idea. So they get the herbals, which fortunately you have a ton. But I've heard the second steep of black tea has a lot less caffeine. Is that true? It is true. However, it does not mean the tea is caffeine free. So that is a classic way to kind of bleed off a lot of the caffeine. Just hot, boiling water, have a steep for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, pour the water out, and then rebrew with a light steep, and you'll get a cup that has a good amount of flavor. It's not the same, but less caffeine. Um, those leaves still, though, have those caffeine molecules inside. So you're really just bleeding off. Because if you think about it, when you do the first steep of a tea, that color comes out, full force right away. And then when you're doing a second steep, it's a little less. It's a little less. So if you think about the color, it's a good reflection of what else is happening inside. So you're getting a little less flavor as well, but you're also getting the less caffeine. So it is true that you can try to lead off some of that caffeine, but it does not make it caffeine free. So if it's a real sensitive issue, I would just say don't do it. Just give them the herbals and uh, experiment until you find ones that they're happy with. But you can try the caffeine. Just make sure that, like I said, the steep that they're actually getting is not a huge steep, because it's still going to give them some caffeine in there. Let's see. checking the other chat. There's a lot of chat rooms in this festival. Kind of have to keep your eyes all over the place. Let's see. So you did try one of our chais on the second steeping, and she loved it. That's a good one. She's talking about steeping a chai that had coconut and lemongrass in it.
Lemongrass.
And those are, and then it's got spices in it too. And so when you have a lot of things that are very potent, like spices, they are going to give you some good flavor in the second round. So the chais are a good choice for trying the brewing it and then pouring it off and doing another one. I would say maybe the florals are not a good choice for that. They're going to not have as much the second steep. Just because if you think about a flower, it's a little weaker. The lavender might be an exception, but something to think about.
Yeah, I
I
love
did
the
also.
timelessness.
Oh,
I
yes.
bought a whole pound of that one. I have the herbal though, but I bought a whole pound of it.
Nice. I mean, that's a great, and keep you happy throughout the winter for sure.
Yes.
You're not going to Thailand, so hey. So looks like we're about time. So I just want to say thanks to Jen and Kieran for helping manage the chat. Sarah, thank you for joining us with some soothing craft backdrop. So I will be, if you want to see me again, you will see me tomorrow at the same time. I'll be talking about mindfulness. I'm just pulling up our schedule. We do have some more live workshops. Kieran will be on in an hour, I believe, doing tea cocktail basics. And when I left the office yesterday, there was an entire bar cart by the front door. So I do suggest, if you're looking forward to a beverage of some sort, that you join us again in an hour, because I think that's going to be a good one. So otherwise, we'll have someone in the booth all weekend. Just hit us up in the chat. We would love to hear from you. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us for this Q&A. It was good to meet everybody again in some cases, or for the first time. I really appreciate it. And take care. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.